out, a lawyer asked me, did you really believe the elitist class that you have created for the legal market? Is it the need of the country? It was a very loaded question. When I reflect on it, perhaps I didn't do anything wrong, but there is great deal to be done for the new model which is relevant to our socio-economic context. It's a new model which is relevant to the situations obtaining in the country and is intellectually rigorous enough to respond adequately to the multiple demands on law within and outside the profession. Law schools should be evolved as research and development laboratories for public policy development, which is not the litigative or the adjudicative function. For delivery of social justice and public sector lawyering, I remember in a legal aid report which Justice Krishnaiyer wrote, of which I also happen to be a member, in 1973, he demanded a public sector in the legal profession. The legal profession is a private sector activity, monopoly of the private sector. There is need for a public sector, which partly is responded by public interest litigation. But more importantly, we need the type of legal services which the government requires, which large sections of people who are not able to hire the best of lawyers from the private sector, the public prosecutorial service, so many areas which take care of the larger interests of society are crying for excellence, for improvement of quality, which is not being provided by legal education today. The growing diversity and complexity of law may require greater specialization, as Mr. Udayullah has mentioned, for which there is continuing education, not the future generation of young lawyers, but what is the law school doing to equip the existing bar, which is 1 million strong, to be able to adjust to these changes by acquiring the knowledges and skills and attitudes necessary to be able to serve the society. Quality improvement, therefore, will require strategies to improve the capacities in research, problem analysis, fact gathering, counseling, litigating, settlement outside the formal courts, and a variety of other things, for which it is not only the curriculum and the teaching methods, but a variety of new strategies will have to be involved. All these require a trained faculty, which is simply absent in India today. All teachers will need extended multidisciplinary training and research experience, not only in law but social sciences as well. Some of the faculty in the law school must be experienced litigators or even public administrators. Some others of the law faculty must have special technical expertise in legal policy development and complex legal transactions. In short, it becomes increasingly important not to see the law teacher as a single prototype, a person with an LLM degree, but a group of specialists working together in an increasingly complex system. Well, I don't have to remind you that law is as large and complex as life itself, and therefore legal education must be able to address these complexities that we are confronting today, the manifestations of which we are experiencing every day, not only in society but even in courtrooms. From this, how do you bridge the gaps that exist between legal education on the one hand, society on the other, and legal profession on the other? I have about 4 or 5 points in this regard which are being projected here. First of all, you need to clarify the objects of legal education. Is the object of legal education to produce courtroom lawyers and judges who are good in litigation? That would have been all right. That was the idea when the Bar Council of India in 1960s under the Advocates Act developed the curriculum for legal education. And Bar was directly concerned with that. But today when you are asking for policy development, social engineering, advising governments on transnational transactions, you require multiple expertise of not lawyer as litigator, but lawyer as a policy advisor, lawyer as an advisor to business, investment. Now this is a special expertise which law schools will have to give outside the control of the legal profession. And that perhaps cannot be given. Everybody cannot be trained for all types of jobs. The object is also to bridge the gaps between the law school and the profession. And the law school, and as I have said, we need to produce even para-professionals. There was a time when we know that munshis and wakils and all sorts of indigenous people who have never gone to a formal university education have been performing multiple tasks. Today that breed of munshis are not available. I believe that we need to provide the para-legals for lawyers, for legal aid machinery, for business establishment, because increasingly there is no activity possible in life without law being complied with. And for everything you don't have to go to a practicing lawyer. So we need to create perhaps another 1 million para-professionals if you really reach out to the unmet legal needs of the poor in our countryside. In the last parliament session, they passed the legislation called Gramin Nyayalaya Act. The government has announced that they are going to establish at the first stage 6,000 mobile courts, which will have civil and criminal jurisdiction, which will not be bound by the Civil Procedure, Criminal Procedure and Evidence Act, which will give civil and criminal remedies at the doorstep of the litigants. Now you need a different breed of lawyer and judge to be able to operate such a concept in the far-flung villages of our vast country. Are the law schools prepared for it? Second point is about the regulatory structure. If this is the multiple role that a future lawyer will have to pay, on the one end, very highly complex transnational practice, to exploit the opportunities that are being made available to the country. At the other end, the small poor litigant at the far-flung villages for his minor legal problems. We need to produce all these types of professionals, if you really, and for which the Bar Council cannot be the controlling mechanism. I was in the National Knowledge Commission, which has submitted a report on legal education reform, mainly structural reform. And its recommendation is to divest the Bar Council of its legal education function. Not only the Bar Council, the Medical Council, AICTE and all that. And a super regulator known as the Higher Education Council, which is supposed to design and lay down the policies for providing opportunities to our young talented men, 400 million of them, of which only 10% are now able to access higher education. That's why the National Knowledge Commission said that we need about 1,500 universities in the next 3 years and perhaps 10,000 universities. We are talking about 1.2 billion people, 1/6 of the human race. Look at China. In a short span of about 8 years, they increased the number of universities in China from nothing to 2,200. 2,200 universities in China. And what are we having here in India? We have about 370 universities. This is only to provide 9% of the eligible age group university education. Access is a big issue. Quality is equally important with globalization. So therefore, we need to have a body which take care of all the stakeholders and not entrusted to the elected Bar Council alone. We need participation of the